So, hello everyone. I want to extend a warm welcome to those of you attending the second session of Bloomberg Nursing Black Futures Month series. Before we begin, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the land of which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat and Seneca and the Mississauga of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still the home of many Indigenous people from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have the opportunity to learn and work on this land. My name is Ovie Onagbiboma, and I am the Executive Director and a founding member of Canadian Black Nurse Alliance, also known as the CBNA. The CBNA was created in 2020 as a call to action to organize Black nurses across Canada, answering the unmet but overwhelming need for Black nursing voices to be heard. In addition to CBNA, we knew the importance of doing this from a humanity perspective and belonging. So it's hugely important to have critical allies in this work. One of the great things we're proud of is our mentorship program that we have for professional nurses, as well as undergraduate nursing students called Black Nurses and Students Allied for Success. As part of the CBNA's mission to serve, mentor, and empower Black nurses through community, provincial and institutional chapters have been created, including one right here at Bloomberg Nursing at the University of Toronto. Today, I am pleased to welcome our session speakers, Sarah Al-Khalifa and Safia Noor, two BSCN students and the president and vice president, respectively, of the UFT chapter of Canadian Black Nurses Alliance. A bit about Sarah. Sarah attended the University of Waterloo and graduated with a bachelor's degree in health studies with a minor in gerontology. As the president of CBNA UFT, she envisions creating a space for Black nursing students to feel empowered to succeed in their professional nursing careers while advocating for equity and inclusion in healthcare. Safia completed her undergraduate degree and at the University of Toronto in human biology, global health, with a double minor in biology and psychology. As the vice president of CBNA UFT, her goal is to foster a space for Black nursing students to connect with one another, share their experiences, and achieve excellence in their careers. Now, over to you, Sarah and Safia.
Hi, thank you, and thank you everybody for coming. We're just going to start off by doing our introductions. Sorry. Okay, so my name is Safia Noor, and I am a second-year nursing student at U of T. I am the vice president of the U of T chapter of the Canadian Black Nurses Alliance, which we recently established, and I'm the recipient of the Black African Canadian Nursing Student Scholarship. I also did my undergrad here at U of T, where I majored in global health within the Human Bio program, and I double minored in biology and psychology. So my interest in nursing started back in high school. I've always enjoyed learning about the health sciences and physiology and biology, and I really like the idea of having a patient-facing role in healthcare, which is what made nursing stand out to me. But healthcare also wasn't new to me, as I already had some family members, like my mom and my sister, who worked within the healthcare sector. So throughout undergrad, it became more clear to me that nursing was what I wanted to pursue, which led me to apply to U of T. But one of my main motivations for pursuing nursing is to be able to give back to my community. As a Somali Canadian woman, I have many intersecting identities. I'm Black, I'm Muslim, I'm African, and I'm Canadian, and I want to be a mentor for people in my community who are also aspiring healthcare providers. When I applied to this program, I had a mentor of my own who provided me with a lot of valuable info about the program and about nursing in general, as well as her experiences in nursing. And her sharing these same identities as me was really helpful because at the time, I was really nervous about getting into such a competitive program, but her being a successful graduate of that program showed me that it was possible for me to succeed. So throughout my clinical placement so far, I've already been seeing the impacts of just being myself and having these intersecting identities when I meet patients within my community who express their joy and their comfort at having a provider who looks like them and who can understand them on a deeper level. I know that as a patient, this is something that I would really appreciate. So it kind of just reminds me why I'm pursuing nursing. Like I said, just the idea of giving back to my community. But just to get back to the topic of our talk today, which is finding our voice through community, I wanted to touch on why I decided to be part of CBNA, U of T. So when I started undergrad, right off the bat, I already started getting involved in clubs like the Black Students Association and the Somali Students Association. And throughout the next 4 years, I became a lot more involved, and I really felt like I was able to find my community on campus. So going into nursing, I was already searching for that community, and I found myself wondering if there was already a club within the program for Black students to connect. So when I saw that our equity directors at NUS were collaborating with CBNA to open up a new chapter, I knew that this was a really good opportunity for me to help create that landing space for Black students to meet each other, connect, and make our voices heard. Also, going back to my desire to be a mentor for people in my community, I think CBNA has been a really good platform so far for that. Even as a new club, when we have our events and even in our meetings, we're able to really provide our first year members with their own advice as second years who are almost graduating. And I know that it means a lot to them to have that support. So thinking to the future, we want to be able to provide these formal and informal mentorship opportunities to help first years and second years navigate the program. And I wanted to end off this intro by just mentioning that as I was preparing for this presentation, I was reflecting on the fact that I've been very fortunate so far in my time as a nursing student to have not had any overt experiences of racism in healthcare, which happens really often to people who look like me. But the honest truth is that I can't guarantee that I, as a Black Muslim woman, am never going to experience racism or discrimination. And it's really important to highlight that it always kind of feels like a matter of time that it's going to happen. And it's really unfortunate that this is something that is always at the back of my mind. And I know that a lot of other Black students and students of color within the program can relate to this as well, which is why I'm really glad that CBNA U of T exists as a platform and also a safe space for Black nursing students to share not only our positive experiences, but our negative ones as well, and really help us to commit to fighting against systemic racism within the healthcare system together. I'm also really glad that CBNA has so many Black nursing leaders that we can both look up to and also connect with to share our experiences and to gain wisdom as we step into our careers as nurses.
Hi, my name is Sarah El Khalifa, and I'm also in my second year of nursing. I completed my undergrad degree in health studies at University of Waterloo. I really love learning about life sciences and human health. And from my studies, I really came to appreciate all the ways that social factors impact our health and how broader systems impact healthcare delivery. Although I wasn't really sure about my exact path in healthcare, I knew that I felt strongly about social justice, and just throughout my courses, learning more about the disparities in care really compelled me to want to learn more and do more. It wasn't until I started considering my future career that I realized nursing was for me. I discovered the CNO's competency framework, and I just felt like several aspects of nursing really aligned well with my values, scholarship, advocacy, and leadership. And then I remember reading online, looking up nursing schools, and coming across U of T's strategic plan and several stories from current students and alumni. And I just kind of really envisioned myself as part of the community. Having always faced challenges with feeling included, fostering an inclusive environment is really important to me. And everything I learned about U of T suggested that it was a place supportive of these values. Last summer, I was fortunate to receive the Black Undergrad Student Research Award, which provided me with a valuable opportunity to gain hands-on research experience. I was really lucky to work with a supportive mentor and a really caring team, and that was a really great experience for me. And then when it comes to connecting with other Black students, I was part of a group called RAISE at University of Waterloo, Racial Advocacy for Inclusion, Solidarity, and Equity. And it was the first of its kind on campus. It served as a peer support group, an educational resource, and they held several social events that were centered around community building. It was really great talking to other students, and I felt a connection that I hadn't really experienced before, just sharing stories and also listening to other people's experiences. Since starting school here, I looked for opportunities to do the same work. So I joined the faculty's Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, and Indigenous Reconciliation Committee. And that made me more thoughtful about continuous improvement and sharing my input to enact positive change. Around the same time, I learned about CBNA, and it seemed like many of the values, as Sophia will touch on next, overlap. The first CBNA event I attended touched on resilience in nursing. I got to learn a lot about the lived experience from other Black nurses. I have dealt with microaggressions in clinical and at work, and so hearing from these nurses really helped me feel seen. And along with Sophia, I was excited to expand on CBNA's work and create an empowering space for Black nursing students here.
So earlier in the talk, OVA kind of touched on the CBNA, but we wanted to talk about how CBNA U of T came about as a chapter of an academic chapter of the Canadian Black Nurses Alliance. So the CBNA was founded in July 2020 and was federally incorporated in September 2020. And it's a nonprofit organization that was born out of the need for Black nurses to be heard, valued, and given credit for their contributions in nursing history. In 2020, when police brutality against Black people in North America, specifically in the United States, was being highlighted more than ever, which sparked global outrage, this really forced Canadians to confront the anti-Black racism present throughout all sectors of our own society, including healthcare. And in Canada, Black nurses have currently and also historically been excluded from decision-making opportunities and routinely face discrimination and underrepresentation in healthcare leadership. So CBNA rose up to take a stand against this and to also represent the unheard voices of Black nurses in Canada. And they've been doing a really good job so far, serving as a platform for Black Canadian nurses to help achieve their goal of meeting the unique needs of Black nurses. So I have here the mission, vision, and values of the CBNA, which are to serve, mentor, and empower Black Canadian nurses through the power of community, to be the leading organization that serves the Black Canadian nursing community. And the values that CBNA really follows include leadership, equity, inclusion, education, mentorship, advocacy, and partnerships. So I decided to include this just to show that CBNA's vision really serves as the foundation for our own chapter, as well as other academic chapters across Canada. And it shapes how we as nursing students and future nurses can work together and empower each other to help make voices heard as we work on establishing our chapter here at U of T.
Yeah, so I'll explain how we started. Basically, our NUS equity coordinator, Shraddha, reached out online inviting anybody who wanted to join CBNA to give their info. And then we started a group chat for students that were interested. And she helped a lot with communicating the club in the NUS newsletters. We initially started with 6 members, and at our first meeting, we each volunteered for roles. Shortly after, Sophia and I met with OV at BVIN, Black Voices in Nursing, and they've been really supportive from the start. They emphasized that they really wanted us to shape this chapter in alignment with their values, but also in a way that serves our needs and our community at U of T, similar to how other chapters have done. And as Sophia mentioned regarding intersectionality, we were really enthusiastic about that aspect because it does allow us to kind of consider the diversity of our members and create a space that really meets our needs now and from year to year. On the next slide, we have the little CBNA chapter logos. It all started with McMaster in 2020 and has since grown to 12 chapters across Canada. During the BVIN event, OV introduced us to members from the McMaster team, and this connection kind of sparked discussions about how we wanted to create U of T's chapter and how we wanted to promote it during orientation. So next I'll be introducing our team members. So we have Ya, who's our secretary, Zay, our treasurer, and Jessica, the outreach coordinator. And then we also have Zaina Shea, who's recently graduated. She's been supporting us as an alumni rep. And then finally, Shada, who co-founded the club, helped get it started and spread the word to other students in the faculty. So we asked some members, what does having a space to connect with other Black students mean to you, and why CBNA? So the first response was, having a space to connect with other Black students plays a crucial role in advocating for the needs and interests of Black nursing students community while raising awareness about diversity, equity, and inclusion. So far, joining CBNA U of T has fostered a sense of belonging on campus. Another member stated that being able to connect with other Black students is important for me to feel like I have a place in this program. And I like how CBNA U of T seeks to provide a range of events, and I'm looking forward to attending more in the future. Another student said, CBNA U of T has allowed me to meet other Black students that I would never have met in such a large program. I'm excited to get involved with this chapter, to meet new people and form great relationships. And then finally, I'm excited about networking, learning from others, and sharing my voice about issues that are important to me. A common theme among these responses is belonging and connection, and we just hope to continue supporting this through our events.
So here we put together a little timeline of how our club, like the events that we've been having so far, as well as some other opportunities that we've taken to promote CBNA U of T to the nursing community. So at the start here in March 2023, as Sarah mentioned, this is when we first officially established our chapter and started to take on our roles as executive members. And throughout the rest of the year, we've had other events and pop-ups to increase our membership. So I'm going to be going through some of these and talking about our goals for each event and how they've impacted our chapter so far. So starting with the Black Voices in Nursing series, this event took place in May 2023, and it focused on internationally educated nurses. And so this event was a collaboration between the CBNA and the Bloomberg Faculty of Nursing, and it featured a panel discussion on internationally educated nurses with topics including the difficulties faced when transitioning into nursing in Canada, how to reduce barriers and accelerate the integration of internationally educated nurses, as well as advocacy and policy changes. So we had 4 speakers on the panel. First was Eva Udegu, the president of the CBNA, and also Dr. Yetunde Tola, a postdoctoral internationally educated nurse, Dr. Lee Chapman, the Chief Nursing Officer of Canada, and Dr. Ruth Lee, who is the Executive Director of the Care Center for Internationally Educated Nurses. So this event really served as U of T's first, or CBNA U of T's first introduction to both the broader nursing community, but also the university. And so some of our members volunteered here to help run the event. As you can see in the picture on the left, we had an information booth set up where we had pamphlets, some t-shirts, and other CBNA and CBNA U of T merch. And throughout the night, we were connecting with a lot of event attendees and some of the speakers who asked us a lot of questions about our chapter and also gave us some words of encouragement as we continue to work on establishing our new chapter. So next September, in September, we participated in NUS's orientation for incoming first-year students. So as you can see in the picture, we set up a booth very similar to the one that we had at the Black Voices in Nursing event, where we provide and we also had a membership form set up on our laptops that as we spoke to first-year students about CBNA U of T, they're really able to register, they're easily able to register as general members. So our 3 main goals with this were to first connect with incoming students, 2, recruit new members, and 3, just generally make our presence known on campus. We knew that orientation was a key time to meet a lot of first years and make them aware of our chapter. And with this booth, we were able to answer a lot of questions from both first years and second years, and also recruit new members who are really eager to join the club and to come to our future events. So this is something that we want to continue doing in the future, and we'd like to work with NUS to potentially expand this information booth into a segment in their orientation presentation so that we can make sure that all first years are aware of CBNA U of T and our goals, and know that our chapter is open to everyone. one of the issues that we've kind of had so far is that some people have a misconception that CB&A U of T is limited to Black students. And although one of our main goals is to uplift the voices of Black students in our program, we really encourage everyone to join our club and to come to our events to help us meet that goal and to also just connect with people across all parts of the program. So this booth is really helpful in helping dispel that misconception that like non-Black students couldn't join the club, but we definitely need to do some more work in getting that message out there, which I think will come with increasing our chapter's exposure to nursing students and the U of T community. And then next, for our fall term events, so these took place in October and December. We had a games night and a study night. And our main goal for our events this year were just to introduce ourselves, to build our membership base and get to know our new members. And these events were a really good opportunity to not only meet and connect with other students, but also talk about our goals as a chapter for the rest of the year and also the future. And it was also a good opportunity to relay important info about our club. For example, with exec recruitment, when we had our study night in December, we were able to talk to our general members about the fact that we were going to be recruiting executives and where they could find the application form. So that was really nice. And yeah, we have some pictures here. We're really happy about the turnout for our first event because since it was our first official meeting, like general meeting / first event, we were really nervous about pulling it off, but we had a good turnout and our members seemed to really enjoy it. So that kind of helps set the tone for the rest of the year. And then just to come back to our timeline, Sarah's going to be touching on this a little bit more, but in January, this is when we began to recruit executive members for the next year, the 2024-2025 academic year. And we decided to introduce a junior executive model, which is where we brought on junior versions of our own position. So like a junior president, junior vice president, etc., and have them work with us for the rest of the semester so that they can see how things work and get accustomed to their new role before they take over next year.
As of now, we have just over 40 members. So far, we've successfully established our club by gaining recognition from UTSU, the University of Toronto Student Unions. So this achievement means that we're now listed on the student organization portal, and we have access to booking campus spaces for our events. We've also recently begun the process of securing club funding through UTSU, and we're really hopeful that this will enable us to further expand on our club's activities. We're also looking into the Black Student Engagement Fund to help finance a panel that we're hoping to host this year. And then finally, as Sophia mentioned, we've recently opened applications for new execs so that they can thrive in their roles for the upcoming year.
So as we discussed, our main focus this term has really been the technical things like funding and planning events and introducing our new executives onto the team to make sure that they're comfortable with taking over once we graduate. But we've also been thinking about potential events to end off the academic year. So first, we were thinking of hosting a new graduate panel. This would be kind of like a Q&A style panel, and this is something that we discussed over the summer and also in first semester. So the Q&A panel would be open to both first and second year students, and it would have recent graduates and alumni of the U of T program who can speak to their experiences in nursing so far, as well as how they prepared for the NCLEX, nursing interviews, job applications, and graduate school applications if that's what they're pursuing. So this would be a really good opportunity for nursing students across the entire program to get an idea of what life is like post-grad and what kind of opportunities are out there for new nurses. And we also think it would provide a lot of exposure for our chapter. As I mentioned before, we want to make sure that everybody's aware that we're inclusive to all nursing students. We think that this event would benefit many people in the program, both first years who are just curious and looking ahead to the future, and also second years who are going to be graduating soon and really want to know what to expect as new nurses. Another thing we've been doing is we've been working on forming connections with other Black student groups on campus, particularly within healthcare. So for example, the Black Medical Students Association, the Black Public Health Collective, the Black Pharmacy Students Association. And I'm going to be touching on this later, but we're hoping to collaborate on events with these groups in the future. And then for our long-term goals, so Sarah and I, along with other members of our chapter who are going to be graduating this year, are interested in continuing on to next year to plan to support the continuation and success of this club as alumni as best as we can. So currently we have a role for this, which is the alumni representative role, which is fulfilled now by Zaina Shea, who's a new grad of our program. But in the future, we want to make sure that we have this role open to several members of our team so that we can maintain our membership while providing support to our junior members so that they can have the tools necessary to successfully run this chapter next year and also pass those tools on to new executive members in the coming years. So this would be a really good way for us to stay connected with our members and also to be easily available so that they can ask us any questions related to running the club, funding, gaining student life recognition, or just any tips that we have to help the club run more smoothly. And then as I touched on just earlier, one of our goals for the future is to work with other Black student groups on campus. So whether this involves collaborating on special events during Black History Month or just regular events throughout the year. We've also talked about potentially branching out into the U of T undergrad community so that we can reach out to people who are interested in healthcare. And so a potential event for that could be a panel or a networking event where undergrad students are able to learn about each of the professional and graduate programs offered on campus, like nursing, medicine, pharmacy, rehab science, etc. And I know that this would have been really helpful for me personally in undergrad to be able to see like the perspectives and firsthand experiences of students from each healthcare program. So I think this would be a great idea, and it would also help Black students in undergrad even more to be able to see people who look like them excelling in these programs as well. We also want to collaborate with other local CBNA chapters, such as CBNA York, or just any chapter across the country virtually, because we think this would be a really good opportunity for our members to network and also connect with nursing students across the country so that we can kind of share our experiences in nursing students as like on a wider scope. And then lastly, some event ideas for next year. This is of course going to be up to the executive team, but we have some standard events that we think could take place on an annual basis at CBNA U of T. So first, the Black Voices in Nursing series, which we had in May and we talked about earlier, where it focused on internationally educated nurses. We would love to have more of these events because BVIN events are a really good way for nursing students to just hear from Black nurses and healthcare providers from a lot of different specialties who can share their experiences working in different institutions. We would also be interested in hosting an NCLEX preparation session for second years, which would take place near the end of the semester and would provide students with practice quizzes and an opportunity to work through like some key subjects and testable material together ahead of the NCLEX. Also, it would be nice if we could have a new graduate, whether that's us or another alumni of the program who can provide tips for the NCLEX so that they can touch on that personal experience and also help our members be able to prepare better. And then finally, the mentorship program. So this is something that CBNA National has been working on, and it's an area that we kind of want to get more involved in. We provide our members with Black mentors in their area of interest. And of course, as we graduate and become new nurses as well, we want to participate as mentors to be mentors for students to help them work towards their academic and career goals.
And then our long-term goals include establishing partnerships with community organizations that are dedicated to supporting Black health and marginalized groups. So by aligning with the values of CBNA and our faculty, we're hoping that these partnerships can help us further our impact. We've been really fortunate to receive inquiries through email from groups that are interested in collaborating. They've invited us to share their content on Instagram and explore future joint initiatives. With our growing membership, we're now in a position to engage actively with these opportunities. So we're looking forward to that. One example is MinoFest, an organization focused on promoting equitable perinatal care for Black women. By partnering with these groups, we're really hoping to contribute to their cause, but also provide our members and the broader community insights into how negative health outcomes result from systemic racism. Spreading this awareness is also really crucial for informing our approach to nursing care and really considering specific needs and challenges faced by the Black community. Sophia and I have really been fortunate to receive a lot of encouragement and support in starting this chapter, as well as just in our journey as Black students within the program. We really hope to collaborate closely with the faculty as well to further our objectives and encourage our members to help make U of T nursing more inclusive and empower them to advocate for EDI within their communities and within their future careers. Thank you.
So yeah, we have our Instagram on the slide, and we also have a QR code that you can scan if you're interested in joining as a general member.
Well, thank you, Sarah and Safia. This was an amazing presentation full of great information on how you guys started, the great work that you've been able to achieve so far, and then just looking ahead over the next couple of years and sustaining this great work and the partnerships that are coming.